Hello, everyone. It took forever to get this back to streaming. It made me think, why do I do this? And then I remembered they set fire to the forest here in Los Angeles. I mean, when you set fires to a bunch of trees that are only responsible for breathing air into your lungs, someone has to speak up. Someone has to speak up because environmentally that is terrible, but also on a health and humane level, that amount of evil has consequences. It has consequences for our city, it has consequences for our children. There is less air. There is still air out there, but it's not as breathable. And if you think as a human that you're not sensitive to the changes, you are. I can tell the difference, mostly because I am a mutant, but also because I studied medicine, even though I'm not a doctor. I really should be, but the VA has yet to approve any sort of educational benefits. And besides, I'd rather get my medical degree on the way to Mars. This is a Mars-oriented podcast. It's super important, now more than ever. Because as I was saying, this whole idea of burning a forest in America is just ridiculous. That air is precious. Because when you remove these trees, you remove carbon filters. I know that you won't see a tree as living or something that has a family or something that is beneficial, or even if it is just a giant hunk of wood, that hunk of wood is a part of you. I'm still getting the errors on this. Oh, come on. I'm still going to keep talking about it. Those trees are appendages of the human body. I love how NASA and all the SpaceX people, they have this mindset of, we'll use rockets and we'll ignore our own biology. Our own biology that says, number one, gravity is important. Two, sleep cycles are important. And therefore, three, the air you breathe is just as important. They think any oxygen is good oxygen. And that's just not the case. We need to have higher standards when it comes to oxygen, when it comes to what you put in your body. Like a parent, I am Daddy on X. I say, if your kid was eating junk food, as a parent, you would take the junk food and put it somewhere else so your kids would need it. Well, there's junk air outside, and you're putting it in your kids' lungs. Not my kids, because, I wouldn't dare, stick my hot dog in one of these American tacos, because then that would mean that they would be stuck in this fucking terrible air and then have to go to school with the dumbass kids that were there. I mean, I've suffered through American education system. I wouldn't inflict it upon my progeny. That's for sure. Which reminds me, we have a new president. Congratulations. Congratulations are in order. Who is going to be your Department of Education head? because we need to have that conversation. We need to have that conversation now more than ever, because where are the children picking up the idea that if you burn a forest, it won't affect you, it won't affect your children, it won't affect your grandchildren. Those forests are gone and they're not coming back. You can replant every single tree, it won't be the same. It would take decades, if not centuries, for that area to recover. But then again, these are the same people who, during the forest fire, and I will say it every single time I do a podcast, knew that there was a fire going on and still got into their cars to go wherever they wanted to go. As a state, we should have had that conversation between us. Stay at home. Don't go in your cars. Don't go out into the street. Don't go out into the public at all, because they atomized, they vaporized those trees, 10,000 acres or more, shoved into the atmosphere, and then that's on top of the smoke. That's a heavier weight. Not only is the air dirtier than it was before, that's a heavier weight of air, more pressure, and more pressure is just going to push it further down your throat into your lungs, causing damage. They say you can recover from lung damage. Would you still risk it though? Because this county, it loves its fire department. It loves to make shows about firefighters. It doesn't factor in that you tell people that fires occur in their own city. How many West Coast fire shows are there? At least 2. I believe it's Station 19 and 911. So that's 2 shows about fires. Fires on the West Coast, no one does a thing. They sit down with their food and they just say, oh, that was a great story. That was a great story about a fire in an area that I can look out my window and see. I can see a fire on that television show, and then I don't equate it to, oh yeah, there are fires in my neighborhood too. I have this problem. I live in an area where the fire department has to come down this main road, and the fire alarms go on and on and on and on every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 times an hour. I don't know where they're going. I mean, I hope they solve whatever fire emergency that they had to go to. But the point is, there are alarms going off. The LA fires are a huge alarm going off for America. Once again, inauguration. Congratulations. I'm so glad we have a new president, a different president than the one before. Because at least it's change. And I don't know, I am a Trump supporter. I will unabashedly say that. Why? Because he thought of the Space Force and implemented it. They were probably going to do that eventually, but he's the one who said, no, let's do that now. Because he understands the future of this country. This country has not expanded. It said California and Alaska, Hawaii, we're done. We're not even going to try and make Puerto Rico a state. No, that's a state territory. It's over there. District of Columbia. DC is never going to be part of America. DC is not America. They've already established that. The flag has been set at 50, and they're not increasing. But because of that, you have a bunch of cities all across this country that people are just cattle. they graze, and they live, they have children, and they just forget. They forget about the rest of the world, they forget about other cities. So this whole idea of a president is just... it's amazing, and it's wonderful until you say that man is extremely far removed from California, where I live, which I'm trying to escape from because they keep setting the fucking place on fire. Like, every fucking day I have either a fire alarm going off in my own fucking building, or I have it going off in the street, or just in the news you have to read, oh yeah, you know, just forest fire here, forest fire there. But no one gets it through the thick fucking skulls. Those fires happen too often. And they're not going away. This is 2025. How many wildfires does it take before people realise I am responsible for it? You are responsible for these forest fires. That was Permanence, available for men and women. I'm playing some of my own tracks in the background. I'm an artist. I don't have time for politics. At least that's what I tell myself, and then I come to this epiphany. Oh, that's right. Because I'm being selfish and saying I'm an artist and I'm not a politician, that I let politicians dictate policies that affect me. The policy of we're not going to irrigate California has led to it being dry as fuck. LA is a dried up fucking cunt. And I'll say that every fucking day. By the way, LA on fire. LA is on fire is actually available on YouTube Music right now. It'll be available on Spotify and Apple Music very soon. Amazon Music sooner. I love my music. I really love the ability to create. I'm a veteran with PTSD from military sexual trauma. But what is the point? What is the point of art in an environment where this lovely museum of a tribute to Ian Iliana, Daddy of California, goes up in flames because politicians like Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass refuse to even talk about restoring the rain cycles here in California. It is not my fault that politicians are not given a science exam in order to take the position. It's not my fault that we treat politics as a popularity contest instead of a civil servant exam. You people work for me. It's not the other way around. I'm not your fucking employee, but I still have to get on a fucking mic and tell you people how to do your fucking jobs. Hence why we have I hate LA, love me anyway. LA is a fucking terrible city, and I encourage people, when you think about LA, think about maybe moving someplace that isn't on fucking fire. Because that's what you have to fucking live with. They tell you with this, I will fucking blast you people every fucking day for this, on the mic. Because you have this Discover LA thing. It's just like, come to LA, come enjoy the tourism of it. Enjoy the beaches. The beaches were on fucking fire, you bastards. And every day, people come here and say, oh, I always wanted to move to LA. It's like, you moved at the worst time. There was a time that you could live in Los Angeles and not have to say, well, I need an evacuation plan. Because it actually came up on my phone. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out of fucking LA. You make your fucking evacuation plans. The emergency services had to send that out. And I say, well, that's lovely. How many times have I actually told the people at LACTA, give me a fucking voucher so I can fucking bounce from this fucking city? It's like, you already have a mayor. A mayor that doesn't fucking do anything. You already have a governor that isn't fucking doing anything. Why the fuck do I have to fucking stay here? Why? You people aren't fucking paying me to fucking get on a mic and fucking discuss politics and environmental issues. I have to do that on my own. Not for the money, but because I don't want to fucking burn to death in your fucking LA firestorm. That is fucking bullshit. That you fucking put me in a position as a PTSD suffering veteran that I have to get on a microphone and tell you people how to fucking live your lives. I shouldn't have to do that. I should have the peace and fucking quiet. But no, I live in Los Angeles, the city that loves the glitz, the glamour. You have the fucking Oscars coming up, the Academy Awards. And I have to say a giant fuck you to the fucking entertainment industry. Because as much as you put out award-winning shows, and I have to talk about Silo once again and Fallout, these wonderful shows that tell the truth through fiction of a dystopian future where we can't breathe the air outside, or it is completely irradiated as it is. I am on X every day, and every time there's a giant solar flare, I have to tweet, and I always say, draws curtains slowly. Oh, I've been up for fucking too long. You can tell I'm like fucking exhausted. Anyway, every time there's a solar flare, I usually, say draws curtains slowly. And it's this little private joke that I have, but it's a way of fucking keeping track. Because every time there's a solar flare, that is an uptick in radiation, uptick in exposure. Exposure to the mutagenic and carcinogenic effects of radiation. But we don't talk about that. And when they get into the fucking weather report, they're not fucking telling people, fucking cover yourself in like a fucking beekeeper outfit. Cover your fucking face up, because you're letting your beautiful fucking face get exposed to that beautiful California sun, which should be giving you the vitamin D that you fucking need, but it gives you vitamin D and a vitamin C for cancer. Who the fuck wants that? I don't. I stay the fuck indoors. Mostly because the fucking terrible fucking city. It parks these nasty fucking American bitches, try and break down my fucking door, ring my doorbell, ring my fucking intercom, and just like, let me in. It's like, I ain't fucking letting you in. I don't fucking know you people. I have PTSD for military sexual trauma. Back the fuck up off my door. They don't fucking listen. So, because I'm fucking petrified of being sexually abused like I was at Lackland Air Force Base by the United States Air Force under military orders by the American government, I don't go outside. And I would like to, which is why I need my HUD-Fast voucher. If I had my HUD-Fast voucher, I could fucking move to a town where they have fucking trees, where it's cloudy, beautiful LA, clear skies for fucking kilometers all around you. It's not that fucking clear. Number one, there's still smog. It's just, you're living in the cloud. The cloud is so big, you can't see it. You can see through it, but that's a cloud. You're living in the cloud. But it doesn't give you shade. Why do I live here? I actually was one of the few people in high school that rated highest in earth science. Because I'm a scientist. I'm not an actor. I'm not a musician, really. Because no one likes my stuff. I still do it anyway for art therapy. And because, what else am I going to do is I try to watch telly, but every time I do, I just say, yeah, but I mean, they're fucking making a point, I want to watch all these television shows. I keep saying Silo. I keep saying Fallout. I have to talk about The Rig. Wonderful show. Lovely, lovely Scottish team there. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that they have lovely British actors, and spoiler alert, where's the diversity? You know, for fuck's sake, there are more people of colour in Scotland. There are more people of colour in Europe, period. Imperialism has fucking reversed. It's gone full circle now. Where are people like me there? Where are people like me? Especially in those fucking jobs. I guarantee more Northerners would rather collect unemployment than go fuck off to a rig. That's something for people like me. So where's the diversity there? Whatever. Still a fantastic show. I love my cast. I love my cast. I love my cast. I love it. Beautiful show about environmentalism. And I don't know, I'm watching the show going, what team am I supposed to be on? Am I supposed to be on the team industrialist? Am I supposed to be on team environmentalist? Because that's what it comes down to. Teams. Which team are you on? It's like, I'll tell you which team I'm on. I'm on the team, get the fuck out of America. Get the fuck off this fucking planet. Get the fuck out this fucking solar system. I'm going all the fucking way. See, that's the difference between me and people like Elon Musk and people who are running fucking NASA. They are so fucking single-minded. Oh, we'll do small missions. Just throw payloads up and down the fucking cosmos that don't fucking go anywhere. Where's your fucking sense of mission? Where's your fucking sense of urgency? Hello there. You know, I want to say that I normally don't fucking curse this much. I am exhausted. I'm exhausted that as an American veteran, I have to talk about environmental issues. And thank you for coming and piss back off to you. Where is the sense of urgency? People in California could look out the fucking windows and they can see that is on fire. That there are fires. There are fires going on. And no one is really having that conversation of, why don't we move? There is nothing in California that you can't get anywhere else at this point. I mean, we like to say, you know, made in California, California, city of dreams, city of stars. Well, guess what? A lot of us are not in the entertainment industry. I am not in the entertainment industry. I make terrible music. And I'm an environmentalist. But I'm not on team environmentalist. I'm not on team an industrialist, even though I am an engineer and most of my things are future technology. There is a middle ground of take what we've learned over centuries and just move forward. The printing press was invented and now we have the internet. We have rockets, but we should also have solar sails. We should also have a gravity well. We should also have the commute. The commute. I've talked how many times about forming the commute on X. So this way we would have a way to go from Mars back to Earth, or from Earth to the moon, and from the moon back to Earth, or from the moon to Mars. Where is your sense of urgency? There was once upon a time a space race where, for bragging rights, for engineering prowess, there was a way to tell people, get on board, do something. We have to go to the moon. That was the attitude among every single American. We have to go to the moon. It is 2025. No one thinks that way. No one thinks that way. No one is trying. Other countries are saying, we'll go to the moon. America, not interested. NASA is a gift shop. You want a t-shirt? You want a mug? You want a mouse pad? Go to nasa.gov. You want science? Come to me. Change.org/genius to Mars. Change.org/Scotland New Grid. Change.org/clear LA smog. Change.org/UN space expeditions. I am more than qualified to lead a mission to Mars. I'm more than qualified to lead a mission out of this solar system. I'm winning on my veteran benefits. Some people would say that their veteran benefits should be best spent raising a family. I'm not going to raise my family to be fucking weak-minded bitches that look at a fucking forest fire and say, that's not my problem. I live in California. Those LA forest fires are my problem. And they're your problem too. So no, I will raise a family. I'll raise my family on a spaceship because that is the future. I wouldn't shove them into an American education system that has them suffer emotional and psychological damage, gives them the worst education ever, and omits part of their history. I come from a multicultural family. Where's Native American history? Where's First Nations history? Where's any history before American history? Because there are lessons there. There is culture there. And that's not being taught. And because that's not being taught, we are undervaluing our children because we're not giving them the tools to be successful in life. If your child doesn't know how to reduce fever, set a splint, those are life skills. If your child isn't learning calculus at an early age, I want to say alien age, because it does feel pretty alien to talk about math prodigies, but I'm a math prodigy. I was born in America. The American education system didn't do me any justice. The American government isn't doing me any favors either. They sexually abused me at Lackland. The United States Air Force did that to me. I can't work, I can't go out in public, I can't talk to people because I'm surrounded by Americans, and it just reminds me of my sexual torture at the hands of Master Sergeant Miranda of the United States Air Force. I'm forever damaged because of that. But I still live here, and because I live here, I have to speak out on several issues. I have a link in the description here if you would like to support restitution and healing for victims of American domestic terrorism, which is exactly what military sexual trauma is. Military sexual trauma is domestic terrorism by American citizens. It is a war crime, and every day is hard. It's hard to get up every day and and want to move, want to even feed myself. It hurts so much that the American government orchestrated my sexual abuse by Master Sergeant Miranda. Because I was reading a calculus textbook. I don't know how to recover, but I know where I want to start. I want to start with a space program. I'm looking around and I'm seeing states on fire. The fire department, you should support them. You should love them and appreciate them. They're not qualified for forest fires. They're qualified for a house being on fire or someone's barbecue going fucking off. They're not qualified for 10,000 acres on fire. And it is dangerous for them and us to continue to just throw bodies at giant forest fires. So every day I'm gonna just be on here because someone has to talk about it. Not for just the human aspect of these people probably have homes, families, lives, and human life is precious. You know what? Those trees are precious. Those trees are precious to me. And those trees should be treated as an appendage. Those are your lungs. In America, in American families, you're taught that biology is how we describe the makeup of the human body and the relationship between different species. If you grow up in indigenous family or a family of faith, you will learn that there is a bit more to it. And science is aware that there is a link, aware that there is something more, something that connects us. But they start talking about gods and goddesses, and that loses a bunch of people in science. So let's not talk about that. Let's just talk about how we need to teach our kids at an early age that when you see a plant, whatever that plant is, you bow your heads in respect. You bow your heads in deference to something that is greater than yourself. You want to look for divinity? Look no further than the green chlorophyll in those plants that pushes the air into your lungs. I hate LA. Love me anyway, because you fuckers set my forest on fire, because at this point, those forests belong to me. Those aren't your forests, because look at what you did with that. You know, I would love to say that this is a job for the government. No, it's not a job for the government. It's a job for me. It's a job. Well, not a job. I don't want to fucking get into politics. I want to just get into fucking being an engineer. But since I have PTSD from military sexual trauma, all I can do is just start this conversation, and then hopefully someone might listen. I don't know. Maybe one of you out there might listen to my ideas on things and say it's important to learn respect for the sanctity of life outside of the human species. When you start to see plants and animals as precious, you learn to respect yourself. You see things like food as sacrament instead of just something that is shoved down your gullet. I was taught that way. I was taught to respect nature. I was taught and I learned and evolved. And I live in a city that is beauty obsessed, obsessed with money and fame. It's a bit too vapid for my taste. I hate LA. Love me anyway, because unlike many politicians, I recognize that this is a fight. You know, you have to fight for your air now. This conversation that I'm having is a fight for the right to breathe in America. Hashtag I can't breathe. When you have smog and smoke at the same exact time, that is a bad combination for your lungs. It's a bad combination for your children's lungs. And as much as I love the news, and finally, people like the LA Times started talking about air quality. It only took them a forest fire outside their fucking windows to talk about it. But, you know, congratulations, kudos where it's due. And by the way, this is Charles by Ian Iliana playing in the background here. We're not alone on this earth. We're not alone in our cities. We have dogs, cats, birds that live with us, that we see as, well, at least hopefully, if you're listening to this, you see your pets, your service animals as part of your family. Something precious, something to be protected. Speak up. Speak up for them, because during this whole entire crisis, how many of us would look at our animals and say, wow, you're sneezing a lot. Let me take the time, moisten a washcloth, and then wipe your snout for you. Because I know that your nose is a little dry because I had to take you outside to do your royal business. And you had to breathe that horrible California air because those assholes in government allowed my fucking city to dry itself out. It's to the point where a forest fire is because a breeze went through the forest, and the friction. I mean, talk about sparks in the bedroom. Wow. Sparks from a breeze. And it doesn't rain here. There's barely any wind. But if it rains here, it floods because they don't maintain the sewer system. And if it is windy by any motion within these forests will just set them ablaze because they're dry as kindling. They're dry as fuck. And I have to talk about this. Oh, by the way, I've got a chat. Wow. Hold on. I have to try and read some of this. Is this about anyway? Haha. Squirrels, love that. Well, thank you. Thank you. That was very good advice. Thank you, people, for actually talking to me in chat. Here I am, just thinking I talking to the ether, but wow, I'm not even famous, and you people actually want to hear about environmental issues. That warms my heart. The saddest boy ever. I play guitar. I play guitar and I write poetry. And I talk about environmental issues. Those forest fires are not just Los Angeles. I know people are talking about, well, if you just moved. It's a city issue. It's a city issue of smog. Change.org/clear LA smog. It's a proposal that I have to change the materials that they use for construction of roads, to turn them from asphalt and just awful petroleum-based products, and doing things like raising the curb and using different materials that are a bit more porous, so that all that smog that comes out of your fucking cars, the carbon monoxide, the sulfur dioxide, the nitrates, that can actually be pulled down away from the car, away from our air, our atmosphere, and down and collected. You can make a pencil, you can use that to form new products. You could do that. But at the very least, you wouldn't have air coming out of a car adding more pollution that hurts us. It hurts us financially because of the health effects and also the societal effects. Once you've experienced fresh air, I encourage people, if you have a park, if you have a national forest, visit it once to know what it's like to breathe clean air. Know what it's like to not rely on your cell phone, to just know peace and know a connection and see that there is life out there. We spend all our days staring into screens. I do it all the time. And if I had my way, I would be lovely forest ranger, working at a wildlife reserve, things that would make a lot more sense to me. But that's not my lot in life. My lot in life is to be an engineer. My lot in life is to be an astronaut. My lot in life is to finally shut down NASA for being too lazy, too scared, and too cowardly. But they weren't throwing everything into putting the first American on Mars. At this point, first Australian on Mars, first New Zealander on Mars, first Irishman on Mars, first Welshman on Mars, first German on Mars, first Nairobian on Mars, first Ethiopian on Mars. Somebody go to fucking Mars. That's what I'm fucking saying to you people. Because if not, I'll go. I'll go to Mars. Because I'm ready to go to Mars. I don't want to live in a state that is constantly on fire. I want to live in a state of a bunch of people who just don't get it, that rain is the most beautiful thing that you could ever experience. Those days that it started raining here in Los Angeles, I look at them so fondly, because the air was beautiful. My nose wasn't on fire. It was wet. It was beautiful. And then all those lawns and little sidewalks where the vegetation was just on its last legs, it came back to life. People can come and go, but those forests stood the test of time. Those forests were important. Those trees had a history. Those trees were alive. And it's arson. It's arson. LA committed arson against itself. Every day I'm going to talk about ACE until I see results. And the results I want to see is I want to seek damages on behalf of the forest. If we can say that a corporation is both an business entity and a person at the same exact time, given same amount of rights and leeway, same should be said about the forest. The forest should have lobbying powers. The forest should be able to vote, because this idea that as humans that drive in cars and fly in airplanes, that we're somehow better than a plant that does nothing more than produce leaves, is arrogant. And that arrogance costs people their homes. That arrogance costs people their lives. Thank goodness for the Pasadena Humane Society. They sent me a picture of a 4-month-old kitten that was burned in these LA fires. It breaks my heart, because number one, I'm sure that kitten needs a home still. It needs operations for those burns. It could barely even open up its eyes. Who speaks for the animals? Who speaks for those trees? Human life is oh so important. I value human life. I'm not one of those environmentalists that say human bad, tree good. I'm saying let's have a conversation where trees can still exist in a world with human industrialization. Not everyone is trying to use these trees for fire, or they use these trees for paper or anything like that. These trees were just there in California to give you air. A selfless act, a selfless sacrifice. Every single day, every single hour, every single minute, every second, those trees were living for you. That was love. California love. No one loves you more than those trees. And you burn the trees. You burn down forests. It hurts. It hurts to live in a country that just ignores the suffering of their own people, ignores the suffering of animals, ignores the suffering of forests. Do you think those trees wanted to burn? Do you think those trees wanted to go up in flames for a bunch of Californians. No. I want to contact NASA.gov and the NOAA and do a Freedom of Information letter because I want the audio. I want the audio because it has been proven that trees and plants know what pain is. That in some cases, trees scream. Those trees screamed and were on fire, but they can't move. They can't move. They can't run away. They can't get in a car and move the entire forest. They had a home. Those trees had a home. And I know that's a hard concept for many humans to think about, that you have cities. Well, guess what? So do trees. A forest is a city of trees. An ecosystem. They even have jobs for everyone. There's a whole world out there that we ignore, and it's not being taught. It's not being taught in our schools. You do a lovely experiment, and maybe in your 4th grade, of trying to raise pea plants and see what kind of light does a difference. You set variables upon sand and soil to see if there's a difference. Where is the explanation that without these plants you don't have food? Without these plants you don't have air, something that's vital to you living. I hate LA. Love me anyway. I'm gonna bash this fucking city on the mic. I'm gonna bash it in fucking music every single chance I get until I see fucking change. This is a shite fucking city for the way that they've burned down forests when they could have just changed the road. Before this firestorm, I've been on X. Every single death music video that I've produced, which is on X. Follow me. I'm Daddy Ian X Ileana. But every single deaf music video that I've had, I've always tried to reach out to Gavin Newsom, try to reach out to Karen Bass and say, do you have 2 minutes to speak about the environment? 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes of your time. No. I went down to City Hall with my PTSD and military sexual trauma. Spoke to the female receptionist. Very difficult for me. And I said, let me try and reach out to you as a city. Here's what you can do. I'm an engineer. Let me help you. Change the fucking roads. I bash Elon Musk for not going far enough with his space program. But he has a car company, Tesla, an electric car. Not everyone's buying an electric car. I don't know what his profit margin is. Actually, that's neither here nor there. It's not about the money. It's about electric cars should be the standard, but you can't force it down a person's throat. You can't expect them to be anything except the American consumerist capitalist pigs that we are. And I'd say, because I'm that way too. I can't paint the entire fucking country as greedy fucking pigs without saying I'm a greedy fucking pig too. But even saying that, you can't expect electric cars to overtake diesel and petrol anytime soon. What you can say is you have to share a motorway. And if that motorway had a preference for electric cars, that would be progress. That would be a way to appease both sides of saying to environmentalists, hey, we're doing something. We're making huge strides by changing the roads. Change.org/clear LA smog. That would be lovely. But then it also speaks to the other side of, I love my truck. I love my huge car that has terrible mileage. I don't do my emission standards testing like I should. It says to them, you can be a jerk, but guess what? As a society, we are committed to public health. We're committed to forward thinking. I don't know. Inauguration 2025. You have a president, a brand new president, who should be talking like this, saying, I love my country enough that I want it to have a future. And I understand that on both sides there are good people. Actually, he did say that during a national crisis once, so at least I know I have the right president finally. But this conversation that we have to have needs to be done. Because environmentalists are trying to hold on to an earth and they don't think that they share it. And the other people, they know they don't share an earth. It's all about them. So in between is future tech. Future tech that meets the needs of all. When you change the motorways, you create a future for California. There are people growing up now who've experienced this forest fire who are always going to be fucking damaged. If they didn't burn themselves, they had to deal with that smoke. And they didn't have training or an education system that said that the environment is important. And that takes a generation to train, to instill civic pride, but even more than just loving your fucking country, you have to love the dirt that you fucking live on. You can say America first, but if you're not fucking kissing the ground, because everything that comes up out of it, you eat, everything that you enjoy, the water comes from somewhere. It doesn't just appear magically because you went to a store and you have it in a plastic bottle. It comes from somewhere. It should mean something to you. It should mean something to you when you eat a meal. Gratitude. There should be a level of gratitude in America, to live in America, to experience freedoms that many other countries don't have. I felt that way when I joined the military. I felt gratitude and also a sense of honor and respect, a dignity within myself that I'm an American, even though I don't really talk like one, but what are you gonna do? Swagger gonna swag. I felt that as an American, I should be doing more. That freedom isn't free. And yes, I joined mostly for the education because I said I want to be a doctor and I would love to go to medical school, but I understand that American medicine is just not where I want it to be. You see, I want medicine, I want science to go further, because a doctor can treat illness, but an engineer can solve the underlying cause of environmental effect on health. I mean, you think you go to your doctor and you go to it alone. It's like, no, you don't go to it alone. You go to your doctor with the baggage of your home life, your family life, your work life, and the life of living wherever fucking city, town, village that you live in. But you never really tell your doctor, I hate LA, love me anyway. You tell your doctor, oh, my lungs hurt, or my heart has palpitations, or I'm really stressed, or I'm depressed. And your doctor has to say, well, you're depressed because of chemical imbalances. How many doctors feel qualified or feel honest enough to tell their patients, you're depressed, you're fat, you're out of shape because you live in a city that doesn't respect you, so you don't respect yourself. When you live in a fucking shit city, just speaking a bit of American there, when you live in a city that is shit, like Los Angeles, and you're not a fucking huge star, guess what? You're going to be fucking resentful. You're going to be fucking pissed. And instead of channeling that into something constructive, you're just going to fucking eat. You're going to fucking don't go out. You're going to, watch more telly than you probably should. You're not going to sleep as much. But if your doctor said to you that, yeah, it's a chemical imbalance within you, and there are medications for that. There's also a fucking plane that goes from your city to another city that probably doesn't suck as much as fucking Los Angeles does. How many people would actually take that as the sign from the heavens that they're supposed to fucking leave? The city is on fire, and guess what? As terrible as it is for me to go outside with my PTSD from military sexual trauma, I took it upon myself to go to the LACTA office and tell them directly, you get me a fucking Hudvash voucher, because I refuse to fucking live another fucking month in this shitty fucking city that burns forests and still goes about their day as if they're not mourning a loss. People lost lives. I mourn their lives. I mourn the lives of the animals. Countless animals, birds, insects, ants. I mourn the ants. That's what I mourn. I see a bigger picture than what is offered in Los Angeles, which is why I don't want to live in Los Angeles. I hate LA, love me anyway, because I'm making a fucking huge point of this is a problem that is happening more than just in one city. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in Canada. Canada has wildfires. You want to do something about that, Canada? Change.org/clean air disco. I have a huge discography. I'm not exactly saying that you would like my music, but at the very least, let me spin some tunes for you while I talk to you about some solutions that I have to protect Canadian health, because I must protect Canada as that Canadian superhero. I mention Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as often as possible when it comes to anything about environmental issues, anything about Canadian agrivoltaics. I'm an outsider. I'm an American for now. But what does that really mean? I said it in the last podcast. We as humans survey the land. We draw a map. We squiggle little lines and say, this is my area here. This is my country. And then we give it a name. But we forget that we're animals too. We forget that we're supposed to migrate. Houses are lovely. I was recently homeless. I've been perpetually homeless. I know how difficult that is. But at the same time, it's an awakening, because I said to myself, this is the bad place. Whatever situation that I'm in, I don't care if there's food in the refrigerator or not. I was unhappy and I left. If you're unhappy in any situation that you are in, whether it be spousal abuse, or you hate your job, or your governor and mayor have colluded between them to deprive future residents of fresh air, leave. You have the right to leave, and you should always trust your gut. It was in my gut to leave California almost the first year in, because I decided, at least let me give it a year, see if I can solve things, whatever. It's been 3 years now. I'm so done. I'm so done. I can't live here. I hate it here. I hate LA. Love me anyway. I deserve a city that understands that there's a balance between the environment and industrialism that you just have to meet. And that only happens when you live in those small towns, those small villages. They don't have the fanciness. You're not going to meet a star there. But you might breathe a little easier knowing that you're not trapped in a fucking forest fire. But you could probably walk outside and take in a lungful of the finest fucking air. And like a person in a desert, once you breathe fresh air after living in a city, you will know the difference. You will know the difference, and it will bring tears to your eyes that for the sake of modern convenience that you ever abandoned your instinct to inhale fresh air. You have the right to that. Don't let your governor, mayor, or even your president tell you that you don't have rights. You have rights. You have the right to fresh air. So you need to speak to your politicians because you elected them. I'm not an elected official. I'm just a disabled American veteran with PTSD from military sexual trauma that makes cool songs like Fast Fun Fuck, which is currently spinning in the background. Love the thumper thumper on that. But speak to your local representatives and speak to your community at large, because it takes a team, it takes a village, it takes people coordinating together to get that message out that the environment is important, that air is important, trees are important, trees are vital, trees are your lungs. They will teach you in school that your lungs are in your body. No. No. Trees are your lungs. Every plant that you have. Some of you have plants in your own house. Show them some respect, because those plants made a partnership with you. You think they're pretty, that they are decoration. Those plants love you. They love the fuck out of you, because you breathe that carbon dioxide and they say thank you. They say thank you by giving you oxygen in response. And this state of California took that sacrifice by those trees and spat on it. I cannot forgive. I cannot forgive a state that does that. So I hate LA. Love me anyway, because you know that I'm making the right point. Trees are lungs. Hashtag trees are lungs. By the way, I don't really understand how to read chat. I'm new to podcasting. I grew up on Joe Rogan. He has Jamie. I've got a dog, and as soon as she learns to work a keyboard and mouse, I'll be fucking golden. But until then, it's just me. So if you want to respond to some of the things that I'm saying here, or maybe pose some valid points, because someone had made a point earlier about drugs. Oh, we can have a conversation about drugs. We can certainly have a conversation about drugs. I love them. I love them because they open your mind to new possibilities, and they open your eyes to things that you ignore. And speaking of things I ignore, I made this song because this town, as much as I bash Los Angeles, was actually really, really nice to me, because they let me sing the national anthem, which I still feel is a good song, even though if you read the full lyrics of it, it's a doozy. But they let me sing the national anthem at one of the local events here, and I'm super honored. And then I was able to sing Christina Aguilera on stage. So this is the East LA song, which now that I'm hearing it, it's extremely embarrassing to hear. It's a children's song. It's in East LA, todo invitados. Oh, bear with me here. I don't want to skip it because I'll just let it continue. This is why I do this podcast. Because as mad as I am at California for abusing me these last 3 years, they did some really nice things for me, and I always say thank you to things like that. This is my song, Let's Make Some LSD. If you follow me on X, I'm Daddy on X. All my deaf music videos begin with "Let's make some LSD." Not because I'm trying to encourage people to take illegal drugs. That's a completely different conversation. I'm just saying psychedelics are far more than what they're telling people, because they're the... I can't believe I'm having this conversation. What? But nobody else is having this conversation on drugs in America. So why not a disabled American veteran who suffers from PTSD from military sexual trauma? So we are going to talk about drugs on another episode. We will have a full conversation on drugs in America. I don't want to have that conversation right now. I want to concentrate on environmental issues. You are absolutely right. I am so low tech right now. I want to do that. I want to do that and just have one like here, so I don't have to. It almost seems like I'm crooning into it. It's so unprofessional. I'm trying to be more professional with this, but also I'm trying to move out of this city. But if I move out of this city, I kind of defeat the purpose of having this podcast. So do you really think I should get a mic? Because I'm considering, you know, it's on my list. That's a very good suggestion. I'm gonna say thank you. Wow, that's a lot of love there. Look, someone said I can't breathe, bro. Terrible syntax, but I do appreciate the sentiment, because that's how I feel all the time. That's how I feel when I live in this city, and nobody wants to be that person running up and down the street screaming all the time saying, do you know what you're doing to those trees? Do you know what you're doing to your lungs? Because people just, they shut down when they hear the truth. And the truth is, we have to do something about these LA forest fires. We have to talk about it, and we have to continue to talk about it. And if your city, wherever you are, isn't on fire because of these LA forest fires or climate change, then we still have to have a conversation about air quality. Air quality globally is terrible. I mean, we think of ourselves as an intelligent species. How intelligent is it to sit in a garage with the car running? Because that is what the atmosphere is for most people. Far too much traffic, far too much pollution. Someone has to do something. Someone has to speak up. Speak up every single time. I encourage people. And thank you all for going on this journey with me. I have to get some guests. I'm gonna leave that in the chat. I believe his name is Neil Tyson deGrasse. Is Neil deGrasse Tyson? Probably. I think he should be a good guest on my show, even though it's a podcast. But I have been trying to reach him on X because he does this thing called Star Talk, and I'd love to pick his brain on physics, especially Mars. Mars is habitable. Mars is fuckable. We should fuck with Mars. Look around you, people. If they can put a Starbucks in every corner, they can put a Starbucks on Mars. And as stupid and as ridiculous as that sounds, if that's what it takes to get people to get off this planet, then fine. Take a Starbucks cup and put it on Mars, if that's what it'll take for you people to go there. Because this idea of, no, we'll keep shoving industry into these towns, shoving industry into these cities. To what end? To what end? Because there's not enough space for it, and they don't plan correctly for it. And all of these civic agencies that do health code inspections and zoning. Zoning is so important, and you know that I'm old because I'm talking about zoning while listening to the slutty song International Nasty Girls by Ian Iliana. But yes, zoning is hugely important. What you put into your city reflects the health of your city. And people would rather put commerce instead of parks, because they think a park is something that doesn't bring enough value. Parks don't bring enough value? Oh, fuck you people for that. Every tree has value. Every plant has value. Even the fungi have value. Those mushrooms have value. More value than a business. Sometimes a city needs a vacant lot. Sometimes a city just needs to let the fucking tree grow out of control. I hate all those pictures and stories of, well, the tree was beginning to eat up the sidewalk, and it was beginning to be uneven, and the roots were pushing up the sidewalk, the roots were destroying the road. No, the road was destroying the path of the roots. I speak for trees. I used to say my sister did, and then I took up that mantle. I speak for trees. I grew up on Dr. C's Horton Hears a Who. I'm one of those people who read articles about medicine and the diversity of life in the Amazon and said, wow, that's amazing. One spider, one plant, one mushroom could change the course of medicine. The Amazon forest is precious. One of the biggest oxygen producing areas that we have on planet Earth. Those California forests were precious. Those were precious to me. I'm heartbroken. I am grieving for trees. By the way, Holy Queen playing in the background by Ian Iliana. I grieve for trees because I understand that trees have a role to play in our lives, our daily lives. I'm very proud to say that I care about the environment. And I hate LA, love me anyway. So what's that sound? Daddy on the mic, Ian Iliana. Thank you all for coming to my podcast. I'll have a fresh one for you tomorrow. I will take into consideration some of the suggestions that you have. Getting a microphone, I will consider it. I have to try and be as professional as possible for apparent guests that I have. Thank you for joining me on this. Have a great day.